Inside the Toronto Rock dressing room, moments before they step on the floor for the biggest game of the year, and the sign in the dressing room wall says it all. It's playoff time. Just win, baby. It's all about the team, according to Coach Les Bartley and Captain Jim Veltman. And with 4 straight appearances in the championship game, it's tough to argue with the Rock. The core of the Rock has remained intact through those seasons, but tonight brings a new challenge as the Rock must roll on the road as they look to capture their first title in hostile territory. Tonight, they'll have to fend off a fierce attack from an Albany team that's lost just twice in 17 games. Led by Josh Sanderson in his 103-point season, the Attack have led this race from wire to wire, building their team around a balanced attack, intimidating defense, and the league's top goalie. A storybook beginning for the Rock franchise, netted victory 99 with 5 from Stroop. 1 year later, it was time for Toth to do it in dramatic fashion, but too much Millen handed the Rock a tough loss in 2001. Tonight, they hope Manning gives them more of this in a search for another title. Welcome to Molson Export National Lacrosse on Rogers Sportsnet. What a thing of beauty. Welcome and hello. I am Jim Lang, and what an evening for National Lacrosse playoff action. It is here live from Pepsi Arena in Albany, New York, the game that these two teams have fought so much for all year, sacrificed so much for after a week of trash talking and controversy. The talk is over. It's time to play lacrosse. And 60 minutes from now, one of these teams will walk away with something nobody can ever take from them, a National Lacrosse League championship ring. And for the Toronto Rock, it's really no surprise why they're here. This is their 4th straight year, an 11-5 record, an incredible 8-0 at home, and look at that, 176 goals against, the fewest in the league. Last week, it was heart attack time at Air Canada Centre. They went to double overtime against the Washington Power. A huge night from Dan Stroop, and what a finale for the Gate brothers. Paul and Gary Gate hobbled on injuries all night long, gave it all they got to keep Washington in it. But it came right down to the wire for the Toronto Rock. Guys like Colin Doyle stepping up, but the Rookie of the Year in the National Lacrosse League, the Prairie Dog, Blaine Manning stepping up with a game-winning goal in double overtime to send 15,000 plus at Air Canada Centre into a frenzy, and the Rock to their 4th straight championship final appearance. For the Albany Attack, you know why they're here? Simple, the best record in the league, 14-2, a mind-boggling 11-game winning streak, only 2 regular season losses, and they were to Rochester. Then they beat them in the semifinals to get off the schneid. A 14-10 victory in the semifinal erased all doubts about this team. No soft record, no soft schedule, just a team of blue-collar heroes that drove 10 hours each day to home games. And guys like T. Trudeau and the Sanderson family and Blaisdell in goal came up huge in the biggest game of the year and put them in the game they've always dreamed of. Talk is over. It's time to talk more about this huge championship game. And for more on that, let's go to our championship team of Joe Bowen and Brian Shanahan.
Well, thank you very much, Jimmy, and welcome to the Pepsi Arena on the shores of the Hudson River here in lovely Albany, New York, the state capital of New York. And an opportunity here tonight for 2 teams to really collide. They say defenses win championships. Well, we're going to see 2 of the best in the National Lacrosse League. It won't be a high-scoring game. At least that's what we think.
That's what we think, but you're right. These 2 teams are almost mirror images of each other. They're both great defense. They're built on defense first. Toronto, the best defense in the league. Albany, the 3rd best defense. Maybe Toronto might have a bit more experience, but you might say with the youth, they might have better legs on Albany.
When you also look at this team, Toronto probably has a bit of an edge in size.
Yeah, Toronto's got a few big guys, and Pat Coyle and Dan Ladouceur and Glenn Clark's got some decent size, but I don't think this Albany team can be intimidated.
The All-Pro team was announced, and these 2 are members. Josh Sanderson of the Albany Attack, and really a big move as far as Pat Coyle is concerned.
Absolutely huge. This is the first time I remember that a defensive player has been named to the All-Pro team, but here's the rest of the team. You see, no surprise with the Gates there, Tracy Kaluski, and the goaltender from Albany, Rob Blaisdell. But if you're getting back to Josh Sanderson and Pat Coyle, they know each other well. They're both from Orangeville, these 2 guys, and they know each other well. They played against each other many times.
one of the key things tonight will be the officiating, because Toronto obviously would like to play a very physical brand because of their size, especially on defense with people like Coyle, but they have to stay out of the penalty box.
Yeah, although having said that, both these teams have great short man. Albany's got the best short man in the league, and Toronto has the second best, and both teams are actually dangerous on a short-handed. I think Toronto led the league in short-handed goals at 19, and Albany was just behind them.
Well, we're in for a tremendous treat here tonight. The fourth straight trip to the final for the Toronto Rock. As you look inside the Albany Attack dressing room, we're just moments away from the introduction of players and the first half.
Third in the league, 12.13, and definitely a made-in-Canada defense. All but one player tonight is all Canadian. For more on the defense and why it wins so much in championships and how the defense for both teams will need to step up to win, let's go upstairs with Joe Bowen and Brian Shanahan.
Thank you, Jimmy. Well, you're right. Defense does win championships. And over the last three trips to the final, the Toronto Rock have demonstrated that if you have a good defense and you have the league's best defense, you get there. And other teams have realized this. And I think Albany, in their very short history in this league, have tried to copy it a little bit. But what a success story the Rock has had since moving from Hamilton into Maple Leaf Gardens to start with Brian and now the Air Canada Center.
You're absolutely right. And here you're going to see the leaders on the Rock from defensive point of view, Pat Coyle and Glenn Clark. And Daryl Gibson, new player this year, who played for Albany last year, has played well for him. And there's veteran Steve Fennell, still playing great defense for them, as well as Cam Woods, who's also the leader on the team, and young Jimmy Moss, who's playing fantastic. You'll see him out there a lot today.
Getting an opportunity to play for the Toronto Rock and watching them over the last 3 years, it's been a tremendous run. Is this a dynasty team, or are they getting a little long in the tooth?
I don't think they're getting long in the tooth. They've got some young players, but look at these numbers over the last 4 years. 4 years in the league, 4 championship appearances. I'd say you almost have to call them a dynasty. If they can win today, you definitely have to call them a dynasty.
Colin Doyle has been the key factor for the Toronto Rock offensively, and he's really had a breakout season this year, hasn't he?
Colin Doyle has always been a big game player. He thrives on these kind of games. There you see a big one last week. Even though he only got 2 last week, he got maybe one of the biggest ones with the goal he pulled near the end of the game. But Colin Doyle thrives on this, and he's ready to go today.
So it is a big matchup here. Defense against defense. Rob Blaisdell was the backup to Whipper Watson in the first championship run that the Rock had a couple of years ago. He certainly built into his own. But let's go downstairs now and check in with Jim Lag down on the floor.
Thank you, Joe Bowen and Brian Shanahan. And what an atmosphere for a championship game at the Pepsi Arena in Albany, New York. When we come back, more of Molson Export National Lacrosse on Rogers Sportsnet. Loving it!
With them, about 5 or 6 busloads are here tonight.
I heard that the Rock had organized about 5 buses, but apparently another 5 or so have showed up. The people have organized on their own, so there's a lot of Rock shirts and a lot of Canadian flags in here.
So they come onto the floor, led by Bob Whipper Watson, and the Toronto Rock into their 4th consecutive appearance in the championship game. And let's go down to Jimmy Lang.
Well, thank you, Joe. With Josh Sanderson, one of the stars of the Albany Attack, maybe the star for a lot of people. For a team that got no respect all year, now a chance to earn all the respect and get the ring, Josh.
Yeah, we got to beat the best to be the best. So we beat Rochester last week, and now Toronto's class of the league for the last 4 years, so we have to beat them. So we're ready, and they're ready. It's going to be a hell of a game.
For you personally, Josh, your knee is healthy, you're healthy, you had a breakout year. Have you ever played better?
Right now I got a lot of confidence. I don't think so. Right now I'm feeling pretty good, so a win would cap off a good year.
And Josh, the thing I know about this team, you're so proud to be on your own floor. It's such a tight group of guys. How much does this mean right now to be in front of your home fans?
Means a lot. We'd rather be here than in the ACC in front of 19,000. They're supported us tonight, so hopefully we can give them a win.
Thanks, Josh. Good luck tonight. Back upstairs.
Thanks, Jimmy. Josh Sanderson is not a big player. He's 5'6" and 160 pounds, but he goes to the traffic.
Yes, he's like all the other Sandersons in his family. They give 100% all the time, and you're right. Not many of them are very big, but he's got a lot of skill. Set the record for assists this year with 68 assists. So he's a great passer, very quick on his feet.
Any surprises in the rosters that were announced to start here tonight?
No, both teams went with the teams that got them in past the semifinals, so no surprises. But you know, it's funny, we keep talking about the defense, and we've talked so much about how both teams have such great defense. I wonder if they're going to surprise us with a shootout.
Well, that has happened, doesn't it? I mean, there's lots of offensive talent that's on this floor tonight on both sides of the floor. And when you take a look at Sanderson, and then you take a look at Pat Doyle and Dan Scroop, and Blaine Manning had a tremendous game last week. The Rock has got a lot of spread out scoring. They can dominate you with a number of lines and combinations.
Exactly, Joe. And the other thing to watch for is both these teams traditionally get off to great starts in the first quarter. Albany is plus 32 in the first quarter this season. Toronto's plus 28. They're the two best teams starting off. So, you know, with the defenses they have, maybe that's going to be key who gets off to the quick start.
Albany also has 5 30-goal scorers this year, so they can spread their offense around a little bit too.
Dan Scroop has scored 37 this year, 6 of them last week in the semifinal game.
The Rogues of the Rope Rotundas are brought to you by Wendy's Late Night Pickup Window, where you can eat great even late. Bob Watson is 9-3 this season with an 11.54 goals against average, but in the championship games over the last 3 years, a 10.66 goals against average. And at the other end of the floor, Rob Blaisdell, somewhere in the pile, had a 13-2 breakout year. He is the all-star netminder of the National Lacrosse League with a 12.01 goals against average. The referees tonight, the crew chief is number 4, Roy Condon of Boston. Chet Couture, number 2 from London, Ontario, is the referee. And Joe Yastrzemski from Buffalo will work as well. David Seidman is the timekeeper. And we are just seconds away from the opening faceoff. Let's go downstairs to Jimmy Land.
Pleasure to be here. Hopefully you play well and get some good outcomes.
Now, your team is obviously a very tight team, well disciplined, but 3-5 on the road this year. Do you feel you have what it takes to win in such a hostile environment?
Well, you know, it's a one-game winner-take-all series, so we're going to bring our best, see what happens.
Good luck, Les. Back upstairs, another Molson Export Bench Report.
Thank you, Jimmy, and we're ready to go. It'll be Steve Toll taking the opening face-off against Steve Fennell of the Albany Attack.
So another two guys who know each other well. They played as teammates in St. Catharines.
Yeah, there's not going to be any surprises here, are there?
Right.
A lot of them have played against each other. Quitland and Brampton in the Man Cup a couple of years ago. Yep. So we're ready to go. And the struggle for the opening face-off on a loose ball is corralled and controlled by Cam Woods. Played back into the Albany zone, and Blaisdell will take charge. The pass comes ahead to Moss. Moss bringing it over the timeline and setting things up offensively. Moss gets an avenue, but has the ball knocked out of his stick, turned over to Toronto. The bounce pass springs the Rocks. Steve Toll, and he has trouble. Gibson is knocked down. Ball on the carpet in a 2-on-1 going the other way. Moss is the wheelman, a shot, and that was stopped by Watson. Rebound controlled by Blaine Manning, and good pace to open this first quarter.
Oh, Joe, it looks like both teams are going to put a press on as soon as the other team gets the ball.
Manning with a shot, got the rebound, shot it wide, bounces back to the goal, and a player in the crease. And Chet Couture has whistled it down, and now do we have a penalty here?
In the back, in the back.
Somebody
We
got
might
hit in
have
the
our
back.
first penalty, and it is going to the Albany Attack.
That looks like Shaden Santos is going in penalty box. There's a nice play. Jimmy Moss, 5 guys get on him to get the ball off him. Then they do the same thing Albany does to Daryl Gibson coming the other way.
In the regular year, the Rock had 39 power play goals in 72 opportunities. That was 6th best in the National Lacrosse League. Veltman over to Manning. Now into the corner it goes. Scroop gives it back. Manning on the outside. Now to Veltman. Challenge. Now to Manning, and the shot is deflected there on a good play by Cam Woods. Veltman has the loose ball though. Cross to Manning. Into the slot it goes. Behind the back pass for Veltman. He wasn't ready. Just 3 seconds on the shot clock. Turned over, and Albany has it now shorthanded. They scored 18 shorthanded goals this year, the Attack did. But that was only second best in the league. The Rock had 19. So both of these defensive teams capable of scoring even when they're a man short. Rosiski working the right side. Trying to make a move. Gary Rosiski looks in front, still holding the ball. 4 seconds left on the shot clock, and he'll roll it back into the corner to kill off some valuable time. 58 seconds left to go in the penalty.
Yeah, Joe, you talk about Toronto's power play, middle of the pack, going against the best penalty killing in the league. They have the work cut out for them, but both teams are going to be really cognizant about shorthanded goals. It's a real killer to give up a shorthanded one.
There was an intercept and a good one by Cam Woods. Plays it back to Blaisdell. Rob Blaisdell, you got to watch him. He scored a goal this year along with 17 assists. Now Fennell working the ball into the corner. Here's Steve Fennell looking for an outlet. Rosiski trying to shield off Beltman. And the Attack seem to be quite content to just utilize the clock here. 17 seconds left in the penalty. Over the shoulder bounds wide of Watson and dumped in front of the net is number 38, Nick Trudeau, and he is slow to get up without his helmet.
Well, the referee's not buying anything from him. I didn't see what happened, but he's not getting a call.
Manning back to Beltman, an outside shot, tripped it wide. Rebound controlled by Beazle. He quickly gets it ahead to Jimmy Moss. Moss working 2-on-2. Now decides to slow it up. Last week we saw the Washington Power. They like to run the ball and they like the fast break. Both of these teams seem to be a little more deliberate in their offensive strategy.
Yeah, but Albany has a lot of guys that can run the ball. I think Toronto's, one of their keys is going to be stopping their defense from transitioning.
Oh, shot saved by Blaisdell. Big rebound. Stroop knocks it into the corner and Squire has it. Rod Squire out to the top. Back in for Squire and a shot. And he set it wide. The rebound scooped towards the net by Kim Squire. He is tangled up there with Cam Woods as the net is jarred. And so there'll be a turnover here and they'll bring the ball back to goaltender Blaisdell.
Joe, Albany uses 9 guys on defense, 6 guys play offense. The Toronto Rock, they'll use 6 guys on defense. So Albany feels that they have fresher legs. Everybody's always got the green light to go, and they do go a lot.
Rosiski gets it over on the side, a loose ball, scooped up here. Here's a race with it. Trying to get free is Drew Candy, and a goal! Scores! Drew Candy shows some tremendous strength to ward off the defender and scores the opening goal of the game, and it almost took 4 minutes to score it.
But Joe, this is tremendous strength, but tremendous stick skills he shows here. He looks like Jimmy Veltman on that loose ball. I thought it was Veltman the way he scooped it over the defender's head, and it was great that he maintained control. Fantastic effort by Drew Candy, and that'll pick up the team. He's not a guy who they're expecting to score many goals. They've got him out there for defense.
His first goal of the postseason. And Drew Candy has the Toronto Rock out in front by a score of 1-0. And things weren't done according to Hoyle in the face-off area. Some premature leaving of the line by Albany, and so it is Toronto's ball.
His first goal of the postseason, Joe, it's also his first goal this season, so that's a big one and good timing for him.
So you're suggesting it comes from an unlikely source. Now here's a chance for Manning, but that was stopped by Blaisdell. Sandy Chapman back of the goal. Manning couldn't get it in front. The ball's on the carpet. Manning in traffic. Manning gets out. The pass in front of the net, and unable to track it down was Ken Millen. Albany control. Moss bringing the ball up the floor now for the Attack. 10:27 left to go. In the first quarter, Dan Teat, and a penalty is coming here to Toronto. Goaltender Blaisdell out of the net for an extra attacker, and it's Gary Rosiski over the boards. A shot from outside goes wide. It may be Dan Ladouceur for cross-checking or a high stick. Here's Josh Sanderson working to the middle with a shot. Great split save made by Watson. Pass across in front, Watson the save. And as it is touched here by Toronto's Pat Coyle, the penalty will come to Toronto.
Illegal cross check.
It's a cross check, and Ladouceur is going to the penalty box.
Illegal cross check, they called it. Watch big Dan Ladouceur. Okay, a little down at the far end of this. See the quickness of Josh Anderson. He gets the shot, gets his own rebound out of this crowd. Nice pass across. One of the best passes in the league with 68 assists.
5:02, the time of the first power play of the game for Albany. Roseski misfires on a pass there with Nick Trudeau. The ball on the carpet, and Watson now trying to get it back to safety into the goal crease. Here's Pat Coyle. Had a nice chat with his mom, who's made the trek down here along with family members. Toll working on the penalty kill. Heads to the bench. Locked into the attack. Squire with an errant pass off the board. Stroop trying to knock it away. Still loose in there. And it is controlled by Mark Cochran to Blaisdell. Steve Pennell brings the ball up the floor for Albany. Trying to get things organized. Dishes it off to Josh Sanderson. Sanderson to the far side. Gets it back again, and a shot. Low save made by Watson. Turnover Toronto. Here's Beltman coming away with it. And he's on a Lone Ranger rush up here as he waits for the front door to come out. Colin Doyle dishes it off. Stroop is out there with Manning, and Manning has the ball. Manning being challenged, now cuts to the middle, got a chance to shoot, now throws it over the shoulder, and it went wide. Jim Moss turns it back up with 26 seconds left in the first penalty against Toronto in this championship game. Glad you're along with us. National Lacrosse League Finals. Toronto leads 1-0.
Watch Toronto short man. It looks like they're going to let Sanderson shoot rather than Roseski or Trudeau.
A pass across is intercepted. Great play there by Doyle. Or Coyle, a pass ahead. Toll has a break. Coyle, now to Coyle, a shot. And that went off. Stays down and wide of the net. Great quick stick demonstrated there by Patty Coyle.
It was a great pickoff by Pat Coyle on the defensive end. Shows why he was picked to the All-Pro team this year.
Mellon dishes it off. The penalty is over, and Toronto's back at full strength. Chapman gets it outside, and the shot is stopped by Blaisdell. Rebound on the floor. Here's Beltman into the slot. Another shot, and that struck a Rock player in front. I think it went off Stroop and has bounded into the seats, and so there'll be a break on the floor as Drew Candy has the only goal of the game, and Toronto leads 1-0. Let's check into our Yamaha Motors keys to the game, brought to you by Yamaha Motors, when you want the best.
Hi, I'm Jim Beltman, and the keys to tonight's game are to try to get the Blazer early, make them earn every goal that they get, don't allow too many transition goals, and to get our defense on the right track, we need to play tough defense against their balanced attack.
Hi, my name is Cam Woods of the Albany Attack, and tonight's keys of the game are strong goaltending from our goaltender Rob Blaisdell, solid attack defense, and we're going to need to have some good transition coming out of our own end, and our offensive guys need to keep the ball moving hot and penetrate the Toronto Rock defense.
I think we pretty well discussed all of those keys, didn't we? It's not rocket science. Here's a chance and a good save made by Watson. Good effort there, going right to the net was Mike Regan. Now, bouncing ball controlled by Dan Teat over on the near side. Roseski can't find an avenue to shoot. Chased by Clark, then let a shot go. And Watson looks very sharp. He's made a couple of great split saves, and we get some shoving with Roseski and Ladouceur.
Mike Reagan is the lone American on the team, or on the floor today. And he's actually from Albany, and I've been told, and we saw it there, he's got great quickness.
Here's Colin Doyle with a shot, and he whipped that wide of the goal. Ball on the floor, but controlled by Jimmy Moss. Lead pass, looking there for Cam Woods, and a big collision there as Watson is sitting on Woods. Now Watson has his stick grabbed out of his hand, but Chet Couture bids the game go on. Quick break for Toronto. Toll, a shot, scores! Steve Toll, and the transition game works for Toronto. It's 2-0.
Absolutely. Well, Toronto was working at that loose ball in their own end there. They had 2 players up the floor. Steve Toth came in to turn a 2-on-2 into a 3-on-2 and finishes it off. The Albany guys are stuck up the floor. Really, it's a 2-on-2 except for Toth's speed. And Blazer gets a piece of it, but it just squeezes in.
Steve Toth in the championship games the Rock have been in is his 2nd goal and his 12th point over the last 4 years. Now here's Glenn Clark setting things up for Toronto. Some slashing over on the far side with Beltman, along with number 4 Ryan Sanderson. The ball in the Albany zone. Now Beltman in the corner, looking for Chapman cutting through the slot. Beltman holds the ball with 5 seconds. Got a shot on goal for a fresh 30, but no rebound there from Blaisdell. Albany down 2-0 with 5:44 to go first quarter. Roseski gets it up on the wing. Here's Josh Sanderson trying to set things up. Sanderson is up high with Pat Coyle chasing him. That's a bit of a mismatch size-wise. Coyle, a very rugged and big man, and Josh Sanderson's going to have to use his quickness to elude him. And now Coyle strips the ball from him, and a turnover on the time violation. Great defense by Pat Coyle.
Exactly, and the way they want to play Josh Sanderson is don't give him time to be the quarterback. He's obviously the most assists in the league. He likes to set everyone up. They want to pressure him all the time so he can't make that nice, easy pass.
We've got penalties here. Coincident minor slashing penalties coming to the Toronto Rocks, number 11, Glenn Clark, and the Albany Attacks, Gary Roseski. Kim Squire and Manning draw the assists on the Rocks' 2nd goal, scored by Steve Toth. Toth had 26 during the regular season.
Watch this defense by Pat Coyle on Josh Sanderson. Just pressure, pressure, pressure. He's not necessarily trying to strip the ball from him. He just doesn't want to give him a good chance to stand back and make a good pass. Watch Coyle come over the head to try for the strip on this one. Does it just after Josh passes.
There's the head coach, Bob McMahon. He's had a marvelous season here and missed the 3rd year of a play by the Albany Attack to get them to the championship game, and was richly and deservedly rewarded with the Coach of the Year honors. Pass bounces, loose ball on the carpet. Colin Doyle fighting for it. Squire knocked down, ball still free. Cam Woods gets it to goaltender Blaisdell. Moss will bring it forward now for Albany. Slowly out of the back door. Another great split save made by Watson. A lead pass for Toth. And he decides to slow it up as Gibson didn't go with him on the 2-on-1. Now here's Beltman on the far side, working to the middle. On the forehand, dishes it off to Danny Stroop. He's knocked off balance. Stroop gets back under control and finds Manning. Manning trying to go to the front. Great pass. Stroop shoots. Great save made by Blaisdell. He made about 5 moves there, Brian Shanahan, and still couldn't find net.
Blaisdell kept with him. He did. That was a great save. Beautiful play by Manning on that. Drawing 2 guys to him and making the pass over to Stroop. Beautiful play.
Here the attack, back into the attack. Mike Regan trying to go to the net. Knocked down. Ball on the carpet. Controlled by Albany. Fresh 30 on the shot clock. Jamie Grimolby trying to make a play and can't. Now into the slot it comes. Good defense up there by Darryl Gibson. And a shot bounds wide. Did it? Yes, it said touched Watson apparently, but bounds into the seats. And so there'll be a break in the action here as Bob Watson has been very strong. And here's the great save made by Blaisdell. 2-0 Toronto. This quarter is brought to you by hotjobs.ca. Log on today and take control of your destiny. And Dodge, grab life by the horns. Let's go down to Jimmy Lang.
Thank you, Joe Bowen, with the king and Mr. All-Pro himself, Pat Coyle, the king of the defense. And quite an atmosphere and quite a challenge for your defense to keep the attack offense away from Bobby Watson.
Yeah, these guys are fast and keep moving a lot, you know, so it's going to be a tiring game, but I don't know, I think we're up to the task.
Okay, good luck the rest of the way. Just a quick injury update, Joe Bowen. Blaine Manning, the Rookie of the Year, injured with his left ankle in great agony. They've taken him to the trainer's room for treatment. That's another Molson Export bench report. Let's head it back upstairs.
Thanks, Jimmy. And Manning must have gone over on the ankle. He is in getting looked at. So part of the Rock offense is not available. Here's the Albany Attack. Mike Regan holding the ball, being forced wide by Ladouceur. Pass into the slot, having problems is Grimolby. Out of the penalty box come Clark along with Roseski, and now it's back to 5-on-5.
Mike Regan's been giving them fits with his speed.
Roseski on the forehand, lets it go wide of the net. Big rebound out into the slot, controlled by Albany, and a shot stopped by Watson, and he reaches back to scoop it up with that big stick. 2-0 Toronto. Drew Candy, Steve Toll have the goals here in the first quarter with 2:50 to play in it. On the far side, over the shoulder shot by Kimbo Squire went wide. Into the corner it goes. Out come the Rock with it. Into Stevie Toll, and he whipped it high and wide. Rebound into the goal crease, smothered by Rob Blaisdell. Blaisdell from Brantford, Ontario, lives in Orillia. Came over in the expansion draft, and now we get
Getting some penalties here.
penalties here, yeah.
Jimmy Moss, and I think it's Jimmy Moss from
Colin
Albany,
Doyle.
Colin Doyle from
Yep.
Toronto.
They're going to the box after their workover in front of the net. Doyle and Moss to the box.
Okay, 7 Blue has 2 minutes for cross-check. 55 White has 5 minutes
Watch
for high
this work
stick.
in the corner here. Sanderson, I think, actually
You
got
put
stepped
5
on.
up on his side,
It was Phil
2 up on his
Sanderson.
side.
He was limping after that. Jimmy Moss is in the penalty box for his work on Colin Doyle. Colin went with him, but Jimmy Moss has been a great player for Albany this season.
Cross-checking. And Moss has been given a 5-minute major for high sticking. So the Toronto Rock are going to go to the power play.
That's one that we rarely see called, Joe. The high sticking penalty's been changed to an automatic 5 this year. And generally they don't call it unless they feel it's very severe. Referees don't like calling it unless they think it's blatant. I never actually saw what happened there.
No, it was off to the side, so they'll play 4-on-4 for 2 minutes. And when Colin Doyle comes out, Toronto's going to have a power play of 3 minutes in duration. Here's Feltman, now to Dan Stroop. Into the corner it goes. Manning back into the game, shoots it wide of the net. So obviously Blaine Manning feeling a lot better. Manning back of the goal, trying to come out in front, rolling it to the net, and that was stopped by Blaisdell, who has control in the goal crease. Sanderson gets it off to Brian Fiesel, and he heads to the bench, and on comes Gary Roseski. Roseski trying to make a move and go inside, and then got double teamed there as Paddy Coyle came over and knocked the ball free. Sanderson speed in front, tipped there by Kazarian, but Brian Kazarian didn't get much on it.
Actually, Gibson got a piece of it, luckily for Toronto, just before it got to Kazarian. And Pat Coyle showing some smarts there. He actually left Josh Sanderson to double team Roseski. Dangerous play. Good if he can get away with it.
Squire knocked in front, into the corner it goes. Stroop trying to find some room, and the ball now. Dan Stroop, up high it goes. Stevie Toll a shot, and that went wide of the goal. Ball bounds into the crowd. It did not touch Blaisdell, so it is Albany Attack ball. Long lead pass to spring Nick Trudeau. Trying to get wide. Trudeau with a shot, and that's wide. Still 2-0. As Watson has it again as you look at the loose balls that have Toronto out in front. Here's Pat Coyle holding things up again. We get a collision on the far side, and one of the Albany players, Trudeau, I believe, is down.
Now that's Glenn Clark.
And
He's
it's
getting the
Glenn-
penalty.
Yep. On the bench.
Now he said,
Back off. Back off. Back off.
Les Bartley not happy with the call here. The players crisscrossing as they went to their respective benches.
I think If I'm correct, Glenn Clark got caught in whatever he did to Trudeau, but Clark was arguing that he wasn't the first.
Roughing call to Clark. So what that is going to do is give Albany a power play for 26 seconds. And then they'll be at even strength for 2 minutes. And then the Rock will get a minute power play opportunity.
And this is a 4-on-3 power play. A lot more wide open. Very tough to defend.
But not for a long stretch. A shot stopped by Watson. Throwing the length of the floor, and Toll, trying to use his speed, has control of the ball. Toll with a dozen seconds which to kill off in order to get Colin Doyle out of the penalty box. Steve Toll, who works as a corrections officer in Uxbridge near Toronto, dishes it off now to Manning. Manning trying to get around his man. Blaine Manning out of the box is Colin Doyle, so they're at even strength, 4-on-4, but a turnover here, and Albany breaks free. Steve Fennell along with Sanderson, but Phil Sanderson now heads to the bench.
Toronto made a quick change to the defense there to take that two-on-one away.
8 seconds left in the quarter here, and 2-0 Toronto the score. Losiski, we promised you a defensive struggle. I think we're going to see that and more as time runs out before the Albany Attack can get another shot on goal. The shots favor the Albany Attack 12-8, but on the scoreboard it is 2-0 Toronto. First quarter of this game brought to you by hotjobs.ca. Log on today and take control of your destiny. And by Dodge, grab life by the horns. Goals by Drew Candy on a breakaway, his first of the season. And Steve Toll, who had 26 on the regular year, has his first of the playoffs.
Well, it was just a few seconds ago before the end of the quarter that Steve Fennell, the Albany Attack, leaned over, waved his lacrosse stick at the Rock players, issuing a challenge, daring them to take him on and take on the Attack. The Rock players laughed at him, but for two teams that never met this year, there's a lot of bad blood. Another Molson Export bench report back upstairs.
And that was a scheduling quirk. Neither of these teams, they didn't play each other.
No, but these guys all know each other well. I think that's the reason they're laughing at Steve Fennell, because they know the only reason he's challenging is because he knows they're not going to fight now. Championship game, they're not going to start a fight.
Here's Josh Sanderson starting things out on the offense now for Albany. Mike Regan working outside here against Jim Veltman. Veltman gets picked, and a whistle though, and an illegal pick here is going to turn the ball over to Toronto. Quickly up for Pat Coyle. Toronto coming out of the front door, and Kim Squire will take charge of the attack. 2-0 in favor of Toronto. Squire gets some room, but another illegal pick.
Exactly, another illegal pick.
Colin Doyle trying to work one there on Shaden Santos.
Well, at least the refereeing is consistent. They're not letting those picks go, those moving picks. You got to be standing still when you set that pick.
Joe Yastrzemski, he should be from Boston, Buffalo, shouldn't he? Now here's Sanderson. On the far side, here's Coyle. As Sanderson breaks through and scores! Josh Sanderson shows you the quickness that netted him 35 goals and 103 points in the regular year. And the Albany Attack have their fans on their feet. It's 2-1.
You see what happens there? There's a nice pick comes up, just enough to slow down Patty Coyle. Gary Rosiski steps in his way. Patty has to run that extra step around, and you can't keep up with a quick guy like Josh Sanderson if you're running circles around guys in front of you. Great play, great finish by Josh Sanderson, but it was a great pick by Gary Rosiski.
Sanderson's third of the postseason after 35 in the regular year.
Watch this pick by Rosiski. Rosiski's going to come up. Now you see all of a sudden that, not much, but it gives an extra step, a bit of an edge to Josh Sanderson there.
And that's all he needed to break around. And now the ball is going to be turned over to Albany right off the face-off with a violation there. And Kazarian gets a penalty for roughing
Just
after the goal.
just
So
after the
Toronto
goal,
is
yep.
going to have a two-man advantage here if they can get control of the ball. Clark is out of the box.
That was a key face-off for Albany to win there. Steve Fennell won that face-off. They'll kill us the full 30 seconds if they can.
Regan being chased here by Clark. And now dishes it off, and Gary Rosiski back to Regan. Trying to work the outside. Toronto hasn't attempted to double team. And now it's just thrown away as the time buzzer goes. And so Toronto now on the power play, their second of the game, as they have a two-man advantage for 47 seconds. Doyle, Squire, Doyle, out top, Manning back to Doyle into Squire, out to the top, the shot doesn't make it through, and it is deflected, and Blaisdell has control.
Phil Sanderson just got a stick in the way of Manning as he took that shot.
Bad turnover here, Squire, breakaway, shoots over top of the goal and is filled in from behind there by Nick Trudeau. Here is Veltman to Squire and a shot, and that is stopped by goaltender Blaisdell, and he covers up. Two big saves there from Rob Blaisdell, and an intercept here by Veltman. Veltman to the top, Wine shoots, another save by Blaisdell off the shoulder. One of the attack back onto the floor as Moss's penalty is over. Veltman gets it out to Colin Doyle and returns it. Doyle from outside scores! Colin Doyle rips it over the shoulder of Blaisdell, and the power play goal restores a two-goal lead for Toronto.
Blaisdell had just made a couple of big saves. Two on Kim Squires, then on Jim Veltman. And Colin Doyle comes in, just whips a high shot. Looked like Blaisdell was going down a bit. Watch it from this angle. It almost looks like it's right down the middle. On the left-hand corner, just over his shoulder.
2:41 the time of the goal for Colin Doyle, who during the regular year had 47 goals.
That's Colin's third goal of the playoffs. He got two last week, including that big one with the goal he pulled. Less than 30 seconds to put it in overtime.
Moss gets it free for Beazle. Back of the goal, being chased there by Rod Squire. Hack and whack and slash. Josh Sanderson now trying to set things up for Albany. Led the league in assists with 68. Now tries to go to the net, but is denied by Watson. And is there a penalty here? I think Glenn Clark may have been caught for cross-checking by referee Roy Condon.
Not even close.
Well, if the game plan was to stay on the penalty box for these teams, that's the one part of the game plan that neither one of them is following.
Third power play opportunity
watch
here.
Clark see what they call him on. I thought if anything that was maybe a high stick. Possibly the referees felt it too, but didn't want to call the high sticking penalty.
Third power play, scores! Rosiski from the right side bounces it in. And after some slow start in the offensive department, we've had a bit of a rash of scoring here in the second period. It's 3-2.
Well, the top two defense teams in penalty killing, well, the power plays are starting to work. Rosiski just didn't take very long. Nice over the shoulder pass to Sanderson and a shot.
3:21.
Just something simple like that.
Rosiski during the regular season had 45 goals.
He scored two last week in the semifinals. That's his first of today.
Here's Toronto with a loose ball to control. Manning has it. Blaine Manning in now for Doyle off the crossbar. Bounds high off the glass. Ball still free, but controlled by Mark Cochran of Albany. Flipped high in the air, and being lifted off his feet is Jim Veltman. Steve Fennell got a piece of Veltman and sent him like a helicopter.
Watch this shot by Doyle. Just a quick one, gets it. Doesn't look like a very dangerous play.
Here's a loose ball and another shot off the crossbar. As getting that one away was Dan Stroop. Back come Albany, 2-on-1, trying to break free. And now it is stood up, and Jim Moss will try and get the offense set up for the attack. 3-2, Toronto lead with 10:48 to go in the second quarter. Trudeau with the shot way wide of the net. Josh Sanderson got the lone assist on that last goal. Trudeau trying to run a screen for Sanderson. His behind the back pass was wide, and Toronto has the loose ball and breaks free here. 3-on-2, 4-on-2. Toll winding, and he fired it high and wide. Quick transition here for Albany. Nice play to gather it in. Cochran now to Sanderson, scores! Josh Sanderson's second goal of the game ties it at 3.
Smart play, and the Toronto Rock got caught on something they rarely do. They turned a 3-on-2, and Toronto turned a 3-on-2 and a 4-on-2. And when the save came, they were caught without the defense. And you see Toronto trying to get back. Josh Sanderson has plenty of room as he comes out of the bench. And that was because too many guys in the Toronto team rushed up to join that 3-on-2. Would have been wiser to hang back, but Josh Sanderson off to a great start. 3 points out of 3 goals.
Here's Manning trying to get over the timeline, and does. Now running to the net is Gibson. He is bowled over. Ball turned over now to Albany. Back up the floor comes Jim Moss. It is a 3-3 tie here as the Albany Attack have come back from a couple of 2-goal deficits. Roseski trying to take it wide on Pat Coyle now with a pass. Trying to make a move, Mike Regan. Regan still on his feet. Back of the net, out in front, and it's going to be over and back. Out of the goal comes Blaisdell, and it will be Toronto ball, and it'll be flipped back as trying to pressure him was Ian Rubel. So some great chances by the Rock, but the crossbar is a goaltender's best friend. Tied at 3. 3-3 tie. A lot of Rock fans in attendance here at the Pepsi Arena. Let's go downstairs to Jimmy Lang.
Of all the mayhem down here, it is loud. All you guys that came down here, love the Toronto Rock, give me a hell yeah! They love the Toronto Rock and lacrosse. They made their road. I hear a couple quaffed on the way down. Their Molson Export bench report back upstairs.
A 3-3 tie as Colin Doyle faked the shot, still has it, trying to muscle his way. Gets Kim Squire to move to the net. Doyle still with the ball. Doyle now trying to protect it, took a shot, that was stopped. The rebound, Squire couldn't scoop it away from Blaisdell. Outlet ahead for Cochran.
Good solid defense from the Albany players there. They're not letting anyone run over them.
Here's Teat. Dan Teat working the left side. Cross and a quick one-timer miss. Teat sends it back in and scores! Josh Sanderson set up again, this time by Dan Teat. And for the first time in the game, the Albany Attack have the lead.
What a game Josh Sanderson is having, in 4th point already, 3rd goal. But you see there's a quick stick shot. Teat recovers it and gives it to Sanderson, who gets himself open. Bobby was recovering from the first one. He went down. Sanderson, he just needs a few seconds to get open. We talked about his lack of size, but obviously that doesn't hurt him.
6:16, the time of the goal, and Albany wins the important face-off to have control of the ball again. Revolby working in, trying to get it freed up. Now on the outside. Here's Teat with it, a quick pass in. Sanderson is knocked off the ball, and Ladouceur scooping it down the floor. Here's Veltman holding the ball and trying to set things up, and now it is a time violation over and back, so now they are whistled into play. And the Toronto Rock trailing for the first time. Blaine Manning trying to make a play to the net. Manning has it knocked off his stick. Into the corner, it is controlled by Millen. Millen coming out into the high slot again, Manning can't get a shot away. He's bowled over. In tight shot. Stopped by Blaisdell and covered up. Manning all tangled up with the defender on the far side and Shaden Santos. A 3-0 run for the Albany Attack. 3 consecutive goals here. All of them scored in the second period. Waziski off to Sanderson. Shot scores! From well out. Bob Watson gave you the impression he didn't see it. And Josh Sanderson has his
Fourth goal of the game.
game.
And I think they gave Josh way too much room on this. And he just stepped in and took an outside shot. Normally not an outside shooter, but if they're going to give him a lot of room. He took about 5 steps. Watch, see how far back. He gets a 5-step run before. There must have been a mismatch. Drew Candy came over. Nobody was covering Josh Sanderson there. Which is surprising. The guy that's got 5 points should be the first guy they're looking at.
Toronto has called timeout as Albany has rattled off 4 straight goals, and the Toronto Rock trail 5-3. Second quarter is being brought to you by Wendy's Late Night Pickup Window, where you can eat great, even late. And by Speedy Auto Service. At Speedy, you're a somebody. Josh Sanderson with his 4th goal of the game, his 6th of the postseason. And when you add 35 more in the regular year, he's had a marvelous season. He's not a big guy, as we've told you, 5'6", 160 pounds, and there's his father, Terry Sanderson, the head coach of the Montreal Express, not showing a great deal of pride and glee yet, but I'm
he
sure
was
he is.
about 20 seconds ago, I saw it, and he would dearly love to have Josh Sanderson playing for him in Montreal, but he knows, why would Albany ever give him up?
So it is a 5-3 lead. Where's the ball?
Oh, they lost the ball.
Lost the ball and went high in the air. Now the fight is on in the near boards area, and Steve Fennell comes up with it. Here's Fennell bringing it out, and on comes Albany once more. Waziski and Cochran again with the assists. Waziski's had a goal and 2 assists here in this run. Regan working the ball, makes an inside move and a shot, and it bounds high over top the glass and into the spectators here at the Pepsi Arena in Albany, New York, and it's Toronto ball. The Rock have not scored since the 2:41 mark of the second quarter when Colin Doyle made it 3-1 Toronto on a power play. Here's Squire looking for Strout. Manning in for Doyle. He's bowled over. Ball controlled out top with 12 seconds left in the shot clock. Good hit there. Manning got straightened up there by Shaden Santos. Now a collision, and down goes the Rock player with Santos right on top of him. And a Toronto ball, a loose ball foul is being called here by referee Roy Condon.
Shaden Santos sure is throwing his weight around.
Shot off Doyle's stick, goes wide. Manning controls, back of the net, stopped by Blaisdell. He slashes away at it. Here's Colin Doyle with a backhand that goes wide. Somebody's piece of equipment, I think the stick just went flying into the corner. It snapped right off at the mesh. Back come the Albany Attack, leading 5-3. Grimolby gets it out top to Regan. Mike Regan looking for an outlet. Far side for Josh Sanderson. Sanderson trying to take it wide. Sanderson coming to the net. Shot low is stopped by Watson. Toronto controls, and Glenn Clark tries to get things organized. Off to Ian Rubel. Rubel bringing it forward and then heading to the bench. Rod Squire working with Millen, and a shot stopped by Blaisdell, and he's got a hold of it on that outside shot from Dan Stroop. We haven't heard much from Stroop thus far. Toronto goals from Toll, Doyle, and Drew Candy. We've heard a lot from Josh Sanderson.
Yeah, I think Toronto's changing the defensive matchup on Josh Sanderson.
A shot whistles wide of goaltender Bob Watson. And here is Veltman bringing the ball up the floor for Toronto with 5 minutes to go in the first half of play. Watson, or at least Veltman getting it in for Stroop. Outside for Colin Doyle. Kim Squire running the pick and go, and the shot is stopped. The rebound is slashed wide, and it's going into the mesh, over the glass and out of play. And let's see whose ball is going to be controlled here as the officials try to sort it out. Here's why the Albany Attack are out in front 5-3. Josh Sanderson's having a great first half. Time now to get interactive with one of the stars of the National Lacrosse League in our Motorola Ask the Pro feature, brought to you by Motorola, intelligence everywhere. Steve Toll with 4 consecutive appearances in the NLL final. Where does this place the Rock in terms of best ever in indoor lacrosse?
That's a great question, Steve. For great teams in a dynasty, I think we have to win tonight. Obviously, it's a big one for us, but I think for a dynasty, it's within 10 years. To be in 4 consecutive championships is very big, obviously, to any team in this league because it's very tough to get to. So I feel this team individually is a very good squad, and I think our chances are very good tonight. And for it to be a dynasty, I think we definitely have to win this year and next year.
Let's go down to Jimmy Lang on the Rock bench.
Well, Joe Bowen, exactly what you said before the break was so very true. That's exactly what Les Bartley told his players, and especially the defenders during that timeout. They talked to Pat Cole and Glenn Clark about defensive assignments and responsibilities, especially concerning Josh Sanderson. And what you said was very true. They did make some adjustments and change some things up. That's another Molson Export Bench report back upstairs.
Rob Blaisdell getting a little equipment adjusted as he makes his way from the Albany Attack bench. And there is Josh Sanderson. He's the story of the first half. More so the first quarter, or the second quarter, where he has scored 3 times, 4 in total. And he's got 5 points in the Attack of 5 goals, and they lead at 5-3.
Well, it doesn't take a brain surgeon to realize they've got to do a better job on him. And I know Pat Coyle was covering him at the start of the game. In the last few shifts, it looks like they've changed. I don't know if they've got Glenn Clark covering him now.
I'm glad it doesn't take a brain surgeon, because there aren't any up here in this booth. I can guarantee you that. Face off in the Albany zone. Steve Toll trying to muscle the ball free, and he does. Glenn Clark dishes it off, and Pat Coyle gets it down low to Veltman. Jim Veltman, who has led this league in loose balls, almost invented the term. Veltman with it again. Pass through and just missed Squire as he was heading to the net. Colin Doyle can't get it and then is stood up, and out comes Albany to the attack. Didn't get it across the timeline. Now Phil Sanderson does, and Moss will take charge here for Albany. An 11-game win streak. That's a league record that they're on, and a shot is smothered right on the goal line by Whipper Watson.
Sure, Steve Toll said, "Don't move, Bob." Let me pick this ball up before it goes in.
Now Toronto to the attack again. Manning to Stroop. Out high. Millen trying to find some room. Manning on the outside. Inside pass off the crossbar by Squire. That's the 3rd crossbar the Rock have hit in this second quarter. Moss bringing it back, and now here's Cochran. Front door comes out for the Albany Attack. And Pat Coyle is working on Josh Sanderson, or attempting to. And Albany is looking for him. Why not? Gromolby takes an outside shot that Watson stops, and Doyle is going to get it over into the goaltender, and Watson has it. As a 10-minute drought here, playing time for the Toronto Rock offense. Here's a shot off the knee of Blaisdell, and he gets the rebound as Colin Doyle had a good chance. Long lead pass for Cochran, waiting for teammates to come out the front door, and now they do. Gary Roseski trying to get things organized. 2:44 to play in the second quarter. Gets a pick from Jamie Gromolby. Roseski trying to move inside, but he whipped the shot low and wide. Gets the rebound and sends it again wide of the net. 4 seconds on the shot clock. It bounds into the crowd. Toronto ball. 2:28 to play in the first half. We promised you some tough defense. I think we've seen it. A shot partially deflects out in front. Manning into the far corner with Woods on him. Woods tied up by Manning. Here's Stroop in there. A big collision sends Manning to the carpet. And now some pushing and shoving right up against the wall on the far side, and it's going to be Albany ball, apparently. And limping out of the pack is Ryan Sanderson, and that right knee seems to be bothering him a little bit. So Ryan Sanderson, 26-year-old veteran from Orangeville, having some difficulty and heading straight to the Albany bench and to the dressing room. Toronto has the ball. Inside move shot, scores! Blaine Manning gets free, and the Toronto Rock fans have something to cheer about, as it is now 5-4.
A rare mistake by the Albany defense, especially in this quarter, as you're going to see two guys get caught up high as Manning comes down low. Watch two Albany guys both stay high, and the Rock capitalize on it. This defense has been awesome, almost perfect this quarter, just for a couple of seconds. Shaden Santos tries to recover and help, but Manning puts it in.
Now a quick turnover again for Toronto, and a shot on a good arm save made by Blaisdell off Patty Coyle. Toronto with 1:48 to go in the half, looking to try and tie. And that goal got the Rock fans on the far side pumped up a little bit. Colin Doyle, Manning and Doyle exchanging the ball. Now to Beltman, and a good shot and a good save. The rebound bounding in front of the net. Bowled over into the goal crease there was Dan Stroop, and it is turned over to Albany. Stroop gets the lone assist on Manning's fourth goal of the playoffs. His third is the reason the Rock are here in this championship game. Scored in double overtime last week. Regan with the outside shot, and it's high after the bounce into the mesh and out of play. 1:04 to play in this period.
That's what we call a hook in your stick, Joe. He'll be fixing the strings in his stick when he goes to the bench, as he shot that one. It came straight out to the ground. Good thing from the Toronto Rock's point of view.
Squire, Colin Doyle tried to get the shot away, but was too well covered by Phil Sanderson. Now turnover. Outside for Kim Squire, but into the goal crease went the Toronto player, and referee Roy Condon says Albany ball. 41.3 seconds remaining in the quarter and the half.
Now you can bet if Toronto gets this ball back, if Albany doesn't score, Toronto will call a timeout and pull their goalie. Will Albany pull their goalie now? I doubt it.
Blaisdell remains in there, but we'll keep an eye on him. Here's the attack with Dan Teat going up high. Josh Sanderson going wide. Steve Toll running step for step with him. That might be a good matchup as far as Toronto's concerned. 16 seconds left. Watson remains in the goal, now is starting out for a sixth attacker. Gibson and Beltman. 7 seconds left. Outside try from Kim Squire, possibly. Beltman can't shoot it. Cross-fired on goal just at the buzzer, and it's handled by Blaisdell. So the Albany Attack, who fall behind 2-0 and 3-1 early into the second period, rally with 4 goals in 4 minutes and 7 seconds, lead at 5-4. The second quarter
is what you'd expect. You see the score 5-4. Power play the same, everything else pretty even. Toronto a little bit ahead on the loose balls. But where it counts, Albany's got a 1-goal lead.
5-4, and I think a lot of people thought maybe a 10-8, 12-10 game might be in the offing, and that would hold true as we start the second half. And Albany turned the ball over. Steve Toll gets an intercept and now tries to set things up with a bounce pass to Veltman. Jimmy Veltman will head to the bench as Toll works around outside. Gets it into Manning. Blaine Manning trying to make a move, unable to penetrate, then is bowled over. The ball is on the carpet, Good, tough defense there from Albany. Here's a chance now for Jim Moss. Will he try to go to the net, and does? And he shot it wide. Rebound is high and bounding into the Toronto bench area.
Albany's double teaming at the right time. Manning had his head down a bit. He got double teamed and he wasn't able to find the open man.
Want to wish a very happy 48th birthday to Jim Wilkes, our technical director here with Molestar. He's got one of those jobs that no one seems to know what he does. And as long as no one finds out, he keeps it, which is terrific. Turnover here is bounding back over the timeline.
It actually went off the Albany stick, but the Rock runs out of time on the 30-second clock anyhow.
Now brought back by Albany. Mark Cochran will give it off, and now here is Gary Rosiski. Rosiski trying to make a pass across, and does. Keep an eye open for Sanderson. He's number 19, and he's got the ball up top. Being chased here by Paddy Coyle. Sanderson puts the brakes on. On the far side it goes for Mike Regan. Can't go to the net. Goes back outside. Bounding shot goes wide. Time's going to run out. Toronto gets the ball, and it'll be Whipper Watson putting it in play. Pat Coyle. 5-4 Albany. Toronto led at the end of the first quarter 2-0. Watson heading to the bench, and out of the box comes Colin Doyle, and on an extra attacker hit the post, and it bounces wide. That's the fourth crossbar that Toronto's had on that surprise move of pulling the goaltender, and Colin Doyle came roaring out of the front door and got a great scoring chance.
That's a great play for Toronto. They execute it so well. They always get the chance. That one just off the pipe. And as you said, they've hit the pipe quite a few times today.
Take the ball wide into the near corner and get the attention there, and out comes Watson. He's got to time it perfectly. There's a shot. That goes wide of the net, and it's controlled by Pat Coyle. Here's Coyle bringing the ball up the floor for Toronto. Lives in Port Moody, BC, a native of Toronto. Paddy Coyle, now Steve Toll on the right side for Colin Doyle. Going to the net, and he shot it over top of the goal and then was dumped as he stepped in behind the goal. Ball into the corner and being double teamed in there. Still loose on the floor. Stroop in there fighting along with number 33, Ken Millen. And it is Albany getting the ball, but not before a little extra pushing and shoving goes on between Mark Cochran and Dan Stroop. Josh Sanderson dishing it off, and a shot is kicked away by Watson. Trying to go to the front of the net, but denied. There was Trudeau. Now he comes in front and scores! What a nice play by Nick Trudeau, and Albany has a 2-goal lead.
That was a tough break for Drew Candy. Actually, he tripped over the net. Watch him, he's covering. Trudeau trips over the net. Trudeau realizes it, comes right back. That's just a tough break. There's nothing you can do about it. Watch again. Candy just steps into the net. Trudeau has all kinds of time.
3:22, the time of the goal for Trudeau. During the regular year, he had 38 goals on the season.
Scored 2 last week again in the win against Rochester. He's got his 3rd goal of the playoffs.
Josh Sanderson gets another point. And 6 points now for Josh Sanderson. He is having a career night here thus far. Toronto down by a pair. Trying to protect the ball is Manning, being chased by Moss. Manning looking for an outlet, being chased into the corner by Santos. Now double team. Manning can't find an opening, but a penalty is coming here.
Hold on the shirt. No way! The free hand grabbed the shirt. Get out of the box. Get in the box. No, the free hand grabbed his shirt.
Shaden Santos disagrees with the call.
You think?
Actually, it's Jimmy Moss going in the penalty box. You heard the referee said the free hand on the shirt. Let's have a look at it.
So it is holding.
To be honest, let's see.
3:46 the time.
You know what? I think that's a terrible call. I didn't see any hold. And you know what? Even if it wasn't taking away a goal.
Well,
that's a Toronto Rock call.
And they get a break here. Let's see if they can utilize it. Manning doesn't by missing that pass. Has to retrieve it in the corner. Blaine Manning. Out top, Doyle. Manning fakes the shot. Fired it wide. A dozen seconds on the shot clock. And Doyle doesn't have much time. Colin Doyle up top. Off to the side. Trying to go to the net. A shot is stopped. The rebound in front. Beltman flipping it high in the air. Manning trying to get to it, but it's controlled by Santos. Santos being chased. Got away there from Beltman. Santos with a bounce pass over here to Cochran. Mark Cochran gives it to Dan Teague, and there are 1:14 remaining in the penalty. Here's Rosiski trying to make a move. Pat Coyle chasing him. Rosiski into the corner. 5 seconds on the shot clock. He'll get it on goal, and a pretty good save had to be made there by Bob Watson just as time ran out.
Absolutely. That was a dangerous shot for a guy who was covered so far out through the screen.
Here's Squire bringing it up the floor now for Toronto. Dan Scroot drops it off to Doyle. Squire. Doyle. Pass into the corner, gets it back up top and fires it well wide, and a good rebound retrieval by Steve Fennell. Brought out by Albany. Cam Woods, the lead pass for Beazle. Looking for Woods, trying to come to the net, but he was too well covered there by Pat Coyle, who came out of the box. 18 seconds left in the penalty, 15 on the shot clock. So this will eat up the remainder of the infraction to Moss. Moss talking with his teammates out there. Sanderson gets the pass in, and a good save made by Watson. And now here is Moss out onto the floor and takes up his defensive posture.
Well, and we can see why Albany has the best short man team in the league with the pressure they put on Toronto Rock's power play.
Squire out there. Rod Squire running a pick. Comes to Dan Stroop. He got the shot away, but a good save by Blaisdell. 6-4 Albany with 8:51 to go in the third period. Cochran dishing it on. Here's Gary Rosiski. Holding the ball, getting it back up top for Sanderson. Sanderson quarterbacking this offense with the pass. Scores! Cutting across, Dan Teat, and Sanderson found him. And another assist for Sanderson. And a 7th goal for Albany, and it's 7-4.
You see Terry Sanderson, the proud dad. Josh Sanderson gets the assist here. Dan Teat scored 4 goals last week. And the win against Rochester just cuts across. Nice little lob pass. Reaches over, gets that shot away. Dan Teat, 5th goal of the playoffs. Told me to say hello to his son, Jeffrey, who's turning 5 next week. I said, only if you score a goal. So he gets one there.
Well, Josh Sanderson is having a marvelous night. He has a hand in every goal scored by the Albany Attack, and it is 7-4 with 8:16 to play. And an outside shot is drilled wide, and now the Rock taking some longer shots and not penetrating the defense.
Oh, but that was a nice little pick-off there by Phil Sanderson. Jim Beltman was open on the crease, or so it seemed.
Here is Rosiski. Trying to get a shot away. Rosiski going to the net. Smothered by Watson and flipped on, and now Pat Coyle will bring it back for Toronto. Brought quickly ahead and limping to the bench is Glenn Clark. Darrell Gibson gives it to Millen. Toronto changing on the go. Here's Sandy Chapman trying to go wide. Inside for Stroop. He shot it over the goal. Rebound! Scores! Millen gets a big goal for the Toronto Rock with 7:31 to play in the period, and it is 7-5.
Huge goal. Dan Stroop takes the shot. He's been quiet so far, but Millen jumps on that rebound, and the Rock definitely needed a break. Try to steal a little bit momentum back. You see Stroop misses it by quite a bit. 3 guys on Millen. He manages to get that loose ball.
Millen had 11 goals during the regular season. He gets his first of the playoffs there. Stroop and Chapman with the assist, and Toronto right back the other way. And that was stopped by Blaisdell on a good save on Sandy Chapman.
Huge save by Blaisdell there. They don't want Toronto to score 2 quick ones at this time.
Albany scored 4 goals in 4 minutes and 7 seconds in the second period and have outscored the Toronto Rock 6-2 since early in the second period. The Albany Attack lead by 2 in the Champions Cup game.
Rogers Sportsnet Ontario, home of the Rock.
Typical of a veteran team, very calm on the bench. You know, there's lots of time to overcome a 2-goal deficit.
Yeah, you know, we've played a lot of these big games, and, you know, we're confident and going to make some things happen out here.
Thank you very much, Eddie. Another Molson Export Bench Report. Back up to Brian Shanahan and Joe Bowen.
Thank you, sir, and we are ready to go with 7:10 remaining in the third period. The Rock trailing by 2. The Albany Attack, it's been the Josh Sanderson show. Here's Stroop into the corner. Out of the goal comes Anthony Como, or he was going to go out. Now he stands back in, so the Rock have made a goaltending switch here. Cosmo is in the net for Toronto as Watson is on the bench. Here's Manning turning. Manning out top for Steve Toll, and he bounces the shot wide, and there the time runs out. What would be the reason behind the goaltending switch? Cosmo makes a save there.
I think it's probably just to shake up the team and actually get the offense going.
Coyle brings the ball back for Toronto. Sweeps wide, took a shot, save, rebound in front. Out in front, another shot. One behind, scores! Veltman bounced it in. No, they're waving it off. They're saying a man was in the crease.
The crease. It's all right. You can't be in the crease.
He got pushed into the crease, says Veltman, but Roy Condon says, I don't care.
Actually, it wasn't Veltman in the crease. It was because Gibson was in the crease when Veltman scored. And Joe, I think we were wrong there. That's Cosmo's still on the bench. That's Bobby Watson,
yep, Watson's
in the net.
still there. All right.
But what happened there was Watson ran to the bench halfway, and they sent him back. It looked like Rock was going to try the sneak play and change their mind.
All right, back come the Toronto Rock, led by Glenn Clark. Here's Dan Stroop, dishing it off. Kim Squire, outside shot, smothered. Rebound goes instead to Chapman. Front of the net for Colin Doyle didn't work. Rebound in front, 2 Rock players collide. Doyle trying to get out of the crease. Veltman to the far side and a pass in front.
Whoa.
Doyle with 27 seconds on the clock. A shot right on. And that is smothered by Blaisdell, and a big-time save made there by the Albany goaltender. Blaisdell may be hurt. He's down on his face.
Well, the Rock offense has definitely come alive. Even though that goal was called back, they've been getting a lot of opportunities. Colin Doyle had the ball on a bad angle. It looked like he had an empty net. It was just too far to the side. It looks like Blaisdell got hit in the midsection.
Yeah, his father, Rob, says that Rob started playing goal when he was 5 or 6. His dad, Dan Blaisdell, said that the goaltender didn't show up. Rob put the stuff on, and he's been in there ever since. And I guess he's a little bit of a, as most goaltenders are, before the game, you just don't talk to him. There's the award winners, and
Rob Blaisdell is in here for the All-Pro goaltender. He was actually goalie of the year as well, and you see Blaine Manning in there from the Rock, Pat Coyle, the best defensive player, Bob McMahon, coach of the year, Jim Veltman, sportsman of the year. So lots of representation out here on the floor from the major awards.
Jimmy Veltman talking with the official about why that goal did not count. He was cognizant of the fact that Gibson was in the crease, but he felt that because he had been pushed in, the goal should stand. But that's not how Roy Condon of Boston viewed the play, and now here's Blaisdell nodding his head that with a little bit of water, he should be ready to go.
Here's some of the saves Rob Blaisdell has made this year, why he is the All-Pro and the goalie of the year. Most wins in the league, 13 wins, most minutes played, second best average, goals against. And he's got a pretty good stick. He can throw that ball up the floor.
Goal and 17 assists.
I want to know how he scored a goal this year.
I'm betting maybe the net was empty.
Long bomb?
Yep.
Could be.
The third quarter is brought to you by Motorola, intelligence everywhere, and by Doritos, the loudest crunch. Albany to the attack, leading 7-5. Trying to go to the net, far side, a pass for Teeth, goes astray, now a loose ball on the carpet, scooped by Patty Coyle, but picked up, and a pass in front, a shot over top of the net. Glenn Clark ran right over Josh Sanderson. Lead pass for Dan Ladouceur. He had a breakaway the other night in the semifinal. Now a pass into the slot and a shot went wide. Ladouceur scores!
Oh!
The big dog off the side of the net got that rebound off the end boards, and he shows you a goal scorer's touch right there.
He sure did. This was kind of an ugly play. It was a broken play. And Glenn Clark ends up taking a high shot, and this guy's got a lot of reach. Look at Clark's shot, goes way high. Dan Ladouceur reaches up about 14 feet to get that rebound and puts it in, slam dunk.
He needed all 6 feet 6 inches and the stick to get that rebound, and there's Dan Ladouceur, who took time off from incarcerating thieves and villains with the Durham Regional Police to come down and play in this championship game, his 4th in his career.
A big goal, Toronto Rock. He's got a goal from Drew Candy, his first of his career. And Dan Ladouceur, I believe his first playoff goal.
Much bigger goal scorer. He had 2 this year. Out of the goal comes Watson. Here's that play again, but it goes to the other side. Squire is shot right on. That was stopped. Here's Colin Doyle firing it wide. Watson goes back into the net. Fresh 30 on the clock. Manning is bowled over there on a good hit by Shaden Santos. Ball still free. Toronto in front of the net. Danny Stroop. There goes the stick out of his hands. Pass in front, stopped by Blaisdell as Manning is bowled over, and Santos has really been throwing his weight around. Trudeau now for Albany. A pass in is turned over, and Albany throwing the ball around rather haphazardly here the last couple of trips down.
Well, I think the Rock was lucky not to get called for too many men on the floor that time.
Ball on the carpet, controlled here by Steve Toll. On the far side it goes. Doyle trying to run a screen. Toll takes it on the outside and whips the high shot wide. And the rebound is going to bound over the timeline, over and back. 3:46 remaining to be played here in the third quarter. And Big Dan Ladouceur has the Rock within 1. Campbell and Mike Toth bring you up to date on all the happenings in the world of sports, the Masters, the NHL schedule coming to a close immediately following lacrosse on Sports Central prime time. Let's go downstairs to Jim Lang.
Well, not only is Mike Regan not only the only Albany native in this game, he's the only American in this game. A very special night for you, Mike.
It's great to represent Albany and U.S. in this game. Hope I can play up to expectations.
You know, so many people didn't think this game should be played here, but looks like the Albany natives are having a whale of a time. You have a 1-goal lead. Can't ask for more than that.
Yeah, they really came out in the masses tonight. Hopefully we can bring home the cup.
Thanks, Mike. Good luck the rest of the way. Another Molson Export bench report. Back up to you guys.
7-6 with 3:46 left in the third period. There's all kinds of time to go. Josh Sanderson. All he's got is 4 goals and 3 assists. Not a bad night at the office.
It's not like he's caught anybody by surprise. He's the guy they're all watching the start of the game.
Here he is again with the ball. Dishes it off to Roziski. Roziski looking into the corner. Roziski with a pass into the slot. Down low. Watson made the save. Rebound. Patty Coyle goes funneling in there after it. Knocked out of his stick. Now behind the back pass to spring his man, speedy Stevie Toll. Toll's in over the line, looking for a man, going to the net, a backhand shot! Oh, what a save that was off Kim Squire, made by Blaisdell, but what a pass by Toll.
Great pass, and Squire was going to that net hard. He wanted that ball. Nice save by Blaisdell on the over-the-shoulder shot.
Sanderson brings it back. Roziski is with him and takes the ball on the near side. Rosiski making a move there on Glenn Clark. Rosiski trying to challenge, then the switch goes. Ladouceur takes his man into the slot and a shot scores! Dan Teat restores the 2-goal lead for Albany with 2:39 to play in the third quarter.
Toronto's defense got caught on this one, you're going to see. Watch when the ball goes up, the Toronto defense, 2 guys down low on 1 man. Drew Candy tries to come up. Drew Candy and Ian Rubles were both covering the same guy down low. And that left Dan Teat open to step in to take that shot.
8-6 at 12:21 of the third quarter. And again, the face-off controlled by Albany. They have really controlled the face-off area, and if this game is close near the end, that could be a real pivotal factor. Rosiski trying to get away there from Clark. Pass intercepted, and Ladouceur with a nice feed ahead. On the break now, here's Ian Rubel going to the net, and the shot scores! The Rock are getting a lot of goals from people you wouldn't expect to be the scoring heroes.
Absolutely.
And Ian Rubel is the latest.
Great play by Ladouceur. You're going to see him pick up that loose ball. He knows he doesn't have the wheels to go all the way here from a dead start. Over the shoulder pass, but look at the speed of Reagan coming back. And Rubles just bounces it between the legs. It's a big goal. Toronto, you said it, Joe. Toronto's getting a lot of goals. Drew Candy's got one, Ladouceur.
Ian
Rubles,
Rubel
the
had
defensive players.
Ian Rubel had 1 goal during the regular season. There's another face-off win by Albany. So Rubel gets his first postseason goal and just his second of the year. Ladouceur with the lone assist, and what an assist it was. So Dan Ladouceur has a goal and an assist here, and it is 8-7. The third quarter being brought to you by Motorola, intelligence everywhere. And by Doritos, the loudest crunch. Pass inside, unable to get the shot away was Colin Doyle. Doyle and Scroop have been held in check rather well by the Albany Attack.
The top 5 goal scorers in the Rock, they've only got 2 goals among them.
Sanderson's passing. Paddy Coyle read that perfectly. Now gets it ahead. Here's a chance for Glenn Clark. Into the slot it goes, back to Clark. Can't shoot it on the backhand, and he sent it wide. Quick transition here again for Albany, but they decide to slow it up. Woods will get it across the timeline, and now set things up. Cam Woods waiting for offensive players out of the door. Now heads to the bench himself. This is Ryan Sanderson, or check that, Brian Kazarian, who has the ball turned over, and Toronto gets control. Watson with the pass up, and here is Stroop. Dan Stroop trying to cut to the middle where he likes to shoot it from, except he fired it up into the screening as his stick got nailed just as he was trying to follow through with the shot. 8-7, Albany Attack. And the Dogs have been playing pretty well here defensively against the Toronto Rock. Rosiski in, shot just wide. Watson may have got an elbow in front of that. The ball's on the carpet, and the shot, and that's wide. The rebound again to Ladouceur. Speed, Toll's got a break. Toll going to the net, shot stopped by Blaisdell on a big quick save there on a quick transition for speedy Stevie Toll. Ladouceur with another nice pass.
Ladouceur's having a great game, getting the ball up the floor quickly, but Albany made the quick change of defense to really rush Toll on that shot.
Rosiski being worked on here by Ladouceur. The pass goes astray into the corner, and it'll be controlled by goaltender Bobby Watson. And there's the horn to end the period. A wild third quarter it was, as the Toronto Rock are back within 1. They narrow the lead to 8-7. 15 minutes to play, or is it going to take a little more? A 1-goal game. Let's go down to Jimmy Lang.
Well, Joe Bone with the coach of the year, Bob McMahon. Sorry about the technical problems earlier, but you have a 1-goal lead to start the biggest game of your life in the fourth quarter. You can't ask for more than that from your team.
No, this has been a great game so far. We've been hurt a little bit by offensive turnovers. Their back door's got 3 goals on us, so we have to eliminate them and make their offense beat us this quarter.
Good luck the rest of the way, Coach. Another Molson Export bench report back upstairs.
Another face-off won by Albany. Here's Moss trying to go to the goal and then decides to pull up. I don't think the Toronto Rock won more than a couple of face-offs here tonight.
No,
Regan.
Steve Fennell's done a great job in the face-offs. But yeah,
here's Rosiski.
I heard Bob McMahon saying the back door, meaning the Toronto defensive guys have got 3 goals.
They have been Candy, Ladouceur, and Rubel. Smothered by Watson, or did he smother? And now he does get his stick on it. Time runs out anyway on the Albany Attack.
Rock has to be a little bit frustrated that Stroop and Doyle's only got 1, and a lot of their offensive guys haven't contributed, but you also have to be encouraged by that a bit, that the defense have kept them in there.
Kim Squire has not scored. Out of the
good check.
Stick by Doyle, knocked free, and now here's a break. This is Sanderson, scores! What a move made by Josh Sanderson.
That wasn't Josh.
No, it's Phil Sanderson.
It was Phil, but it's Sanderson nonetheless. Phil plays the defensive end. He gets up the floor fast, but wait till you see this little move that he puts, fakes it. Oh, nice little move. And that's Blaisdell. We talked about his good stick. A nice pass right on the money.
Fourth period starts
Gibson
up.
Tries to get there.
A minute 2 into it, and Phil Sanderson scores.
Well, there's a goal from the back door.
Now Toronto finally wins a face-off, but they turn the ball over immediately. And the Albany Attack have been nursing this 2-goal lead for most of the game since they acquired it in the third period. A shot stopped by Watson is controlled here by Rubel. That looked like a pretty quick change by Albany, but they got away with it. Rubel outside, down low. Clark scores on the short side, and another backdoor goal for the Toronto Rock. Glenn Clark scores it.
That seemed to be very lackadaisical on defense there for Albany. And you're right, it was a quick change, but that wasn't illegal, Joe. It was just that the guys hadn't got on the floor yet. But here you got 2 guys running around. I think they were waiting for the Rock to slow it down and set it up. Smart move by Clark.
Boy, there wasn't an awful lot of room on that short side, as you saw there, but it snuck past. And so Glenn Clark.
Blaisdell thought he was making that pass, just got off the post by about an inch, and Clark squeezed it in.
9-8 again, a 1-goal game. Here's Dan Teat. The ball on the near side, back outside to Josh Sanderson. That was exploded off Toll's leg. Now the Attack with 9 seconds on the shot clock. Sanderson got bowled over there in front of the net. Now here's another opportunity for Regan, and he's just going to throw it away as the save made by Watson, but after time it expired. Toronto brings it back with a chance to tie on this possession. Down 9-8. Toll fakes the handoff to Doyle. Now down low and a shot. That was stopped as Manning let it go. Blaine Manning over here for Colin Doyle. He can't get much room. Looks for Manning. Now to Kim Squire. Down to Doyle. Out in front of the net. Bouncing ball. Turned over again. And Albany has it. Dan Stroop bowled over in front. Back come the Attack. Led by Santos. Pass goes in. Bouncing ball. Turned over. Squire roaring back up the floor. He's got Rubel free. Rubel going to the net. Dishes it back, and it doesn't work. Now loose ball is controlled by Toronto. Clark trying to slow it down again. Actually, the fast break has been working for the Toronto Rock. And it's been their defensive players who've been providing the offense.
They've been getting the turnovers.
Here's a chance off the goalpost. Doyle's second crossbar of the game. Squire, Roddy to the near side for Doyle. Scores! Colin Doyle outside ties the game at 9.
Oh, you're right. He's been hitting the pipe. A few times a money player gets a shot. Oh, didn't have a lot of room on that one either. I mean, look at the size of Rob Blaisdell. There's not much room to shoot at. to left-hand corner. Blaisdell moved off the corner for just a second, but Colin Doyle just squeezed it in. Fourth goal of the playoffs, second today. The only Rock player with more than one goal today.
Colin Doyle with his second of the game and his fourth of the postseason. Manning and Rod Squire with the assists. Toronto wins a face-off, and now a chance to take the lead for the first time since the second quarter. Colin Doyle pulling his way to the front. No angle to shoot. Looks for Manning. Manning corrals the ball. Trying to get a little pick action there. One hand's in front for Doyle. Trying to get it free. He does! Holy mackerel, what a goal! He bounds that over the shoulder of Blaisdell, and the hat trick for Doyle, and the Rock on the lead.
This was a beautiful effort by Doyle with two guys on him. Little scoop pass. Almost looks like a suicide pass as Doyle catches it with two guys on him. Holy cow. He ducks out of that hit. Watch this here. He ducks when he catches it. Ducks. The hit comes high. Beautiful effort.
His third of the game, his fifth of the playoffs. And all of a sudden, momentum is sitting on the Toronto bench. Ball controlled again by Roddy Squire. Trying to take it to the net. He does, and it slipped out of his stick. Turned over now for Jim Moss. Moss getting it ahead. Right out at center now by Brian Beazle. 2 goals in 33 seconds for the Toronto Rock. Have given them the lead for the first time since the second quarter. Out of the stick, rolling towards the timeline, and forced, no, turned over though. Brought back by Toronto's Clark. Clark trying to work in on goal. Puts the brakes, no, goes to the net, shot it wide. Rebound near side. 10:20 to go here in the fourth period. Boy, she's heating up here in the Pepsi Arena, isn't it?
I tell you, that Albany team switches from offense to defense so fast. Those guys sprint to and from the bench. Do a great job at taking away the fast break.
Here's Doyle, off the crossbar again. Out of the goal comes Watson. There's a penalty coming here to Albany. Toronto will go to the power. Scores! Blaisdell got looking behind the net, anticipating a pass, and vacated the twine tent, and Dan Stroop gets a gimme.
Heads up play by Dan Stroop. I didn't know what he was doing for a second. He's waiting for his teammates to come on. The Rock is calling for it behind the net. Smart play. Mistake by Blaisdell, but credit Dan Stroop for noticing it. Everybody's calling to wait for everyone to come up. Blaisdell reads that pass. Great play.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Coach Bob McMahon tries to get a bit of a timeout here. The Toronto Rock have a 4-goal run going.
And you know, we talked a while ago about they were getting all the goals from the defense, and I guess the only encouraging part about that is you're going to say sooner or later our offensive guys have to come through. Last 3 goals, 2 by Doyle, 1 by Stroop, the big guns.
3:34 the time over that span. The Rock come from a 9-8 deficit to an 11-9 lead.
They're actually a 9-7 deficit at one point there, Joe. But 4 straight goals by the Rock.
Tim Squire with another assist. Colin Doyle assists on Stroop's goal, his first of the game.
Still lots of time. We've seen how momentum can swing in this game.
Here's Santos getting away from a couple of forecheckers and bounding the ball up at center now for Woods. Cam Woods being hounded, flips it off. Big hit there as Teat got nailed in against the boards. Albany trying to slow things down and answer a 4-goal run. Regan, he'll shoot it, scores over the shoulder of Watson. A big goal for Albany.
That shot actually bounced off somebody's back, changed the direction, and it went into the net. Not looking like a real dangerous play, but watch the shot change direction. I'm not sure who it hits here.
Was it a stick?
A stick or a head or something. But it definitely changed direction. Watch if you can see here. Reagan's going to come across the top. Watch where that ball goes when it leaves his stick. Oh, yeah. It went off Veltman's arm or helmet there. Deflection.
Regan gets the goal. It's 11-10 and a timeout on the floor. A wild fourth period underway, and we've played only 5 minutes and 40 seconds of it. The Toronto Rock own the lead, 11-10. With Toronto owning the lead. The fourth quarter is being brought to you by Yamaha Motors, when you want the best. And by Canon, leaders in digital photography. Astonish yourself. Colin Doyle has been hot in this fourth period.
Yeah, we always talk about him being a big money player. Colin Doyle's great season, 47 goals. This is the first period on the, second quarter on the power play. That one he just got a few moments ago looked just like the other one. Here's the one that made it 10-9. Fantastic effort. Two guys checking him, dives through, gets the shot away.
Albany owns the ball and going for the tie. Regan bringing it up. Trying to work his way, had some difficulties with it, now pulls back. Getting some interference run there by Teat on the pick. The pass into the slot, ball on the floor. Didn't see it, the Rock defender. Now with 12 seconds left in the shot
Rubels
clock.
has no stick here, Joe.
Rubel has lost his stick, now gets it, and now a break here for Toronto. Led by Clark. Now it goes on the side, a shot, scores! Darryl Gibson! The unknown defenders are leading the Rock offense here tonight.
How about the defense? And I thought that Albany recovered on this. Albany got to the bench quickly, and I thought they took it away, but Gibson said, no, I'm still going to the net. Stick right on him. Gets that shot away off the pipe. We talked about the defense being so important out here. I didn't realize it was going to be from a scoring point of view.
Right. Goes to show you how much you know. 3 goals during the regular season, and it's the Shanahan all-defensive offensive show. Here's Pat Coyle. Maybe Les Bartley should think seriously about having the offensive guys play defense and put the defensive guys out the front door. But the transition game has been the key. Here's Colin Doyle, his shot. That may have grazed the post. Let's see how referee Chet Couture.
Giving the Rock back the ball.
And
yep. I guess it must have gone off Rob Blaisdell, in their opinion.
Gibson from Clark. 14 different Rock players have been involved in their offense here tonight. Pass into the slot is controlled by Toronto. Manning turns it around and got the shot on goal, and then it's rolled into the goaltender. 14 different players in a hand in the scoring. That really is quite amazing. Here's Trudeau trying to work in. On the forehand, can't shoot it. Josh Sanderson outside. Dishes it off. Now looks to work in the corner as Rosiski. Challenge there by Toll. And Toll got back to make a brilliant defensive play. And here go the Rock again. Clark, though, has run out of gas.
Toll got beat badly there, but made great recovery. Rosiski walked right around him, but he came back to make a big stick check.
Here's Colin Doyle with 7.5 minutes to play fourth period. Toronto leads by 2. Millen out top. Off to the side. Looking in for Colin Doyle. Off a stick. Loose and in the crease. And so it is Albany ball. Been a whale of a game, Brian, and we may not get through it in the next 7 minutes and 13 seconds.
You're absolutely right. Do we want another overtime? Can you take another one?
I think we could handle it. Regan could take more of this entertainment, I'll guarantee you that. There's a big save by Watson.
That was a big save. Tough one.
Patty Coyle coming away. And now the Rock trying to get their offense on, and Coyle's shot is stopped there by Blaisdell.
Great strength. Patty Coyle coming down on Steve Fennell, one of the top defenders in the league, and just gave him the shoulder, ran him over.
Not sure that Les Bartley wanted that quicker shot, maybe to eat up a little more of the clock, leading by 2. But the Attack have the ball and a chance to narrow the lead. Trudeau in the middle, shot it wide. 7 seconds. Here's a chance now for Kazarian, and he has it wide, and out come the Toronto Rock. Clark will slow it down and allow the offense to take the floor.
Joe, you can see from here a lot of hands up on the bench telling them to slow it down.
Yep.
Part of the reason that is to give the defense a bit of a rest.
Yep.
The downside about Pat Coyle getting a scoring chance there, when he doesn't score, they don't have him on defense.
Yeah, he had to go straight to the bench. The gas tank was empty.
They want him on D whenever they get the chance.
Save made by Blaisdell, and here's Albany back now as things starting to settle down a little bit after that rash of scoring. And the defense is tightening up here. Albany trying to go to the net as Rosiski, stopped by Watson, and in the crease now is captain Jim Veltman. He brings the ball up the floor now for Toronto. A glance at the clock. It tells him there's 5.5 minutes left to play here in the 4th period, and Toronto leads 12-10. Colin Doyle, young man who has finished his studies at university, now trying to back in, gets a shot, another goal post. He's had a rash of them, 6 of them for Toronto in the game, and I dare say Doyle's had at least half of those. Settle it down, says the Rock Dan Stroop, and they try to organize things, and then an errant pass by Rod Squire for his brother Ken goes into the crowd. 4:55 to play and a timeout on the floor as the Toronto Rock have a 12-10 lead on a wild 4th period in which they have scored 5 times. Jimmy Lang, what have you got for us downstairs?
Very tired and very weary. Colin Doyle, it's the 4th quarter of the championship game. You have a 2-goal lead, and you guys are sucking it up and giving it all you got.
Well, we got nothing to save it for. This is it. 4:55, you know. We're going to give everything we got left.
You know, earlier in the game, a lot of the unsung heroes on defense were scoring goals, and you were going to all your studs on offense saying it's time for us to step up and score something. You've done it.
Well, they kept us in the first 3 quarters of this game. We owed them 1 quarter. You know, that's all that's left. We owed it to them. And we got 5 minutes left to prove that we're worth it to play with them.
Thank you, Colin. Good luck the rest of the way. That's another Molson Export Bench Report. Back upstairs.
He's a delightful young man, isn't he? Colin Doyle, 6'2", 185 pounds. Went to Laurier, wants to teach geography. He certainly knows the geographical location of that net.
Delightful young man. And Josh Sanderson is too. And can't forget Josh Sanderson got 8 points. The Rock has kept him quiet for a while. I'm sure they're very aware of him.
Well, he has not had a hand in the scoring since 6:28 of the 3rd period. That's almost a lifetime.
I think he scored 7 points in the first 7 goals, and he was in on the 9th, maybe?
No, that was Phil Sanderson, I think, on the break.
Oh, one Sanderson.
Yeah, one Sanderson to another Sanderson. It is time to take a look at our Speedy drive of the game, brought to you by Speedy. At Speedy, you're a somebody. And here is the goal by Gibson, Daryl Gibson, making it 12-10. And the Toronto Rock have a 2-goal lead with 4:55 remaining, and there are some of the Rock fans who have made their way down here by bus and charter aircraft, and they're enjoying themselves here in Albany. 9,289 in attendance, and here's our Speedy drive of the game. And here's the goal by Gibson.
Yeah, this is the one. I think Clark makes that pass, and the fast break just off the post. Big one to restore the 2-goal lead for the Rock. As you said, the defense are contributing. 4 defensive players have scored for them.
So here comes Albany to the attack. A shot is smothered by Bob Watson, and he'll hold on.
Joe, they got to be very happy with that attendance. Over 9,000. They averaged 3,500 all season.
Well, there's about 4,000 coming down here from Toronto.
Yeah, exactly. I think Brad Waters sold a lot of tickets for Albany with some of the things he said in the paper.
He is sitting in behind the Toronto bench. He guaranteed a Rock win. Here's a shot stopped by Blaisdell off the stick of Doyle.
Well, Fennell just
Fennell
gave
and
Squire a punch to the
Squire
head.
trying to extricate themselves from one another. They're shoving around with one another. A little butt end on the way through. A little more chit-chat. Shot goes wide at the other end of the net. Game on. And a hit there right at the timeline by Gibson. Here's a pass in for Daryl Gibson. Has he got another one? He does!
Same place as the last one. Same man passing the ball up to him. Glenn Clark.
York University student in economics, Daryl Gibson, a Toronto native, 6'1" and 203.
Same combo as last goal. Oh, as Glenn Clark gets the ball up to him, and he shoots at the same corner as the last one. Blaisdell's expecting the shot to the far side.
That is the biggest lead of the game.
I'm
a
sure
3-goal lead.
It's got to be tough for the goaltenders when you see defensive guys coming down at you. You have no idea how these guys shoot.
I'm not so sure some of them have any idea how they're going to
you know what?
either.
Goalies say they're the hardest guys to stop are guys that aren't sure where they're shooting.
That's right. Well, the first goal that we showed you on the highlight when Gibson scored at 6'10", it looked like his stick was tapped just as he shot it, and it probably changed the angle completely for Blaisdell. Now Blaisdell has decided maybe a little slowdown action here and some equipment would be helpful to try and get his team back. The fourth quarter brought to you by Yamaha Motors, when you want the best. And by Canon, leaders in digital photography. Astonish yourself. The Toronto Rock trying to win their third National Lacrosse League championship in 4 years, and they have their fans on their feet with 3:56 remaining here in the fourth period, owning the largest lead of the game, 13-10.
This is the 12-10 goal, very similar, just a piece of the stick on. Blaisdell moving from his left to his right, and Gibson shot on the right-hand side.
Mike Regan just did get a bit of his stick, didn't he, Brian? And it may have just changed the angle a little bit off the post and in. And that's a huge goal, and then he follows it up with a carbon copy, and it is 13-10.
And you know what? I don't think Steve Fennell and Kim Squire is messing around just before that goal. I don't think that did any favors for Albany, because had Fennell got to the bench and allowed the fifth Albany guy on the floor, there might not have been that over and back play that caused Josh Sanderson to have to go back to make that dive to keep it in.
Here's Trudeau. Working on the far side. Sanderson's pass is intercepted by Steve Toll, and the transition game for Toronto working again. Toll, though, would like to eat up some time, and Jim Beltman will slow it down. 3:30 and ticking. Colin Doyle. And the pressure defense here from Albany is going to become a little more fact-of-life. Doyle being shoved right up against the glass here as he tries to get around Woods. Doyle. Now out to Beltman it comes. Long shot bounding in. That's blocked. Time runs out. Woods just literally took Colin Doyle and slammed him in against the glass.
Well, they don't want to let him shoot, but I think the key for the Rock at this point is to make sure that they don't give Albany any fast breaks.
The net is empty, and the Rock players are trying to let them know, the defenders, that there are 6 attackers. Heads-up action on the Toronto bench.
And that's not so they can shoot at the empty net. That's so that they can...
There's a shot, scores from outside, Mike Regan.
They needed that.
The idea was not, you're right, not to shoot at the empty net, but be aware you got to play zone defense.
Exactly, to play the house zone defense. I think the Rock should have been up a bit higher on. I'm not sure who that is in the middle, but actually it's a nice little pick thrown by the Albany player to allow them to get that outside shot.
12-13, the time of the goal by Regan.
When you play what they call the house defense, you don't want to give any freebie shots. You need stick on stick.
So Mike Regan makes it 13-11, and once again, the inability to win the face-offs has Albany with the ball right after a goal to try and narrow the margin now to 1. Teat dishes it off on the near side. Trudeau trying to one-hand his way past. still has it on the backhand, going to the net. It's knocked out of his stick. Toronto's Veltman. Behind the back pass for Glenn Clark. Paddy Coyle is up with him. But Toronto wants to slow things down. And you can see the bench over there again, waving at them to slow it down.
We'll watch to see if Albany pulls their goalie again. And if they do, if the Rock changes their house, I think they give Reagan way too much room to step in.
Under 2 minutes to play in the fourth. Loose ball in the corner.
Toronto doesn't have enough players on the floor.
No, you're right. Now they do. Here's a chance. And it's intercepted there by Blaisdell. Let's keep an eye on Blaisdell. And hold on, a whistle. He's going to bring the ball back, I think. Blaisdell is coming out of the net. And again, the Toronto Rock players slamming the bench, letting the defenders know that a defensive change is in order.
Jim Veltman is playing up high. He is not going to allow the free high outside shot.
Here's the attack trying to get within one. The net empty to our right. Sanderson. Teat. Over to Sanderson. Challenged by Clark. Teat. Shot. Great save made there by Watson. Teat. Inside. Trying to get the shot away. Blocked by Ladouceur. It goes into the crowd. Dan Ladouceur.
And the Rock gets a break there because I think that ball went in the crowd
I'm
off
sure it did.
Ladouceur's stick. Roy Condon called it a Toronto ball right away, but I think he's going to talk with referee Chet Couture for a second opinion.
I saw the stick going that way. Do you have a deflection? Yes. Right off his fucking shoulder. Right off. We'll call the deflection.
That's the correct call.
Good call
There's
made
a look
there.
at it.
Right off the stick of Dan Ladouceur.
Yeah, watch.
Right there.
Deflection.
Great play,
May have
too.
saved the goal.
1:20 to play in the fourth period. Net empty, 6 attackers, Albany. Regan shooting, stopped by Watson. He's underneath them somewhere and not in the net. Toronto with a chance here to try to extend the lead, but more importantly, kill off some
They got to
valuable
get the ball
time.
over half within 10 seconds.
Veltman's going to have to hurry, and he does, just getting it over. Manning has it knocked away. Bad turnover for Toronto. Here's Beazle in over the line. Beazle going to the net with a pass, scores! Josh Sanderson just tipped that pass, and it's 13-12 with 50.1 seconds, and now the face-off circle becomes so very important.
Huge goal, and I think some people thought that Beazle was going to try to set up. This is just a little deflection by Josh Sanderson as he gets his 10th point of the game. Fantastic play. That was a tough turnover for Toronto. Watch. Using the extra man. Josh Sanderson, what a game.
5th goal of the game for Sanderson, 10th point.
Now face-offs, we talked about face-offs, Joe.
Yep.
Now,
this is critical. Toll. And again, it's Albany with the ball and slammed back across the timeline. What is the call?
White.
Timeout, White.
Timeline doesn't count, Joe, on the face-off, so that's all right. You can run over the timeline.
And they made a timeout call just as he got it across. Sanderson wants a penalty.
They're not going to call it at this point unless it's absolutely blatant.
47.4 seconds remaining in the fourth period. Albany down by 1. And I don't know if Toronto's won more than 3 or 4 face-offs all night.
Bunnell's a good face-off man. Cam Woods gets in there early.
10 points for Josh Sanderson. What a night he's had. He's the game MVP. Well, it's crunch time. Molson Export National Lacrosse brought to you by Molson Export at X today.
Well, it is crunch time, Joe. The goalie pulled.
White
Getting
knuckle
more exciting
time.
than this.
Hang on to your seat if you're in it. They're on their feet here in Albany. Trudeau trying to tie the game. outside with 6 attackers. Trudeau to the far side, near side. Pass in front, backhanded just wide by Gary Rosiski. Toronto ball and a timeout. Paddy Coyle makes a heads-up move there. He was surrounded.
You're absolutely right. That was a heads-up move because there was no way he was going to be able to get that ball out of his end the way that Albany was all over him.
Here's that last play around Watson. Rosiski with the behind-the-back shot, missed the net. Not
miss
by
much. And Paddy Coyle, and I'll tell you what the Rock players probably did, as I'm sure they told the referees ahead of time, as soon as we get that ball, we're probably going to call a timeout. And it's a good thing they did because Roy Conn had called it quickly. If he didn't hear Paddy calling it, they would have been in big trouble because that would have been a turnover. And now they got to get the ball over half within 10 seconds, Joe, and they had trouble last time.
Can Albany do this without their goaltender in? Do they go with 6 attackers
Albany
here?
definitely takes the goalie out. What I'm curious to see if Toronto dares to do it. There you see the results from the last 3 championships.
The whole idea, what you're suggesting is, if they're going to go with 6 attackers, Toronto would do the same in order to get control of the ball and have a loose man.
Exactly, and Toronto has done that many times, and they are doing it now. Pretty scary, but you know what? You got to go with what you've done all season. You don't change the game plan because it's a big game. You do what you always do. Now, if they're going to double team, it looks somebody will be open.
Rod Squire is the open man. He is right up on the boards and he has the ball. And now they'll get Watson back into the goal as quickly as possible. Manning has it knocked right out of his stick. The ball still free. Watson back into the goal with 23 seconds left. Toronto still with the ball. Roddy Squire trying to protect it with his life. He is balled into the corner, and did he hold the ball against his chest? He did. Turnover with 16 seconds left.
Toronto's making some uncharacteristic mistakes, and I wouldn't call Roddy's play the mistake so much, but Blaine Manning ran into trouble. He was lucky to get that ball back.
16 seconds. Here we go. Dan Teat looking to tie the game and send it to overtime. Off to Sanderson. Teat shoots. Blocked. Goes into the corner. Loose on the ball. Into the corner it goes for Trudeau. Driving the net. Stopped there, and Watson has it. The game is over. The game is over. The Toronto Rock hold on and beat the Albany Attack 13-12. Their 3rd National Lacrosse League championship in 4 years. But what a night of entertainment.
Oh, was it ever, Joe? Right up to the last second there.
Bob Watson surrounded down in the Toronto zone. Josh Sanderson, what a performance. And let's go down to Jimmy Land.
If there was one guy who deserves a medal for his performance tonight, it's Josh Sanderson. What an incredible night.
Not really. We didn't win, so it's disappointing. We had a good year and just came up a goal short, but oh well, we're back next year.
No, but you really can build on this, Josh. I mean, what an atmosphere here in Albany at the Pepsi Arena, and it's something to build on for not just the fans, but the whole organization.
Well, you'd think so, but we'll probably start out with 3,000 next year at the home opener, so who knows? Like, I don't know.
Thanks a lot, Josh. Well done. Back upstairs.
That's a disappointed young man, and
he's very disappointed.
rightfully so.
You know,
he played his heart out here. 10 points in the championship game.
And you know what? He would trade it all in. He'd be much happier to have a bad night and the team win. But it was a great effort.
Look at the celebration going on down to our left. The Toronto Rock with their 3rd National Lacrosse League championship in 4 years. To Brad Waters and his management group. To Les Bartley and his coaching staff. Of Ed Como and Derek Keenan, who have been with them throughout. And let's go downstairs now to our Molson Export Player of the Game, and here's Jim Lang again.
Joe Bowen, Colin Doyle, the 2002 MVP of the championship game. What an incredible performance by the Toronto Rock.
Oh my God, you can't give an MVP on this team. We're all MVPs through and through, man. Everybody stepped up like we need them to. Our defense won us this championship. And I tell you, I think the offense will be buying the beers tonight.
Well, you know, people talk about Bobby Watson, and when you guys had that lead and you needed a goaltender to hold the door, to hold the lead, Bobby Watson was huge for you.
Nobody else I'd rather have in my net. Easy as that.
Colin Doyle, I mean, we've seen so many great lacrosse players in this league, but what really stands out to me for the Rock is how tight and close this team was. Not one player bitched at each other during that fourth quarter. When you could have been bickering, no one said a word.
We got a lot of leaders on this team, and a lot of us are fortunate to have the opportunity to play with these guys. And like I said, this is a team effort, and we're a great team.
Colin Doyle, why don't you raise the championship cup, emblematic of the best lacrosse team in the world for 2002? Congratulations.
Thank you. Can I say hi to somebody?
Go ahead.
I'd like to say hi to all the fellas at home, and Stacy, I love you. Thanks.
Nicely done, Colin Doyle. Let's go back up to Joe Bowen and Brian Shanahan.
And you got to tip your hat to Coach Les Bartley, Joe. He's coached 11 seasons in this league, been to the championship 9 times, won it 6 times. That's an amazing record.
That's in any sport. That is an amazing record. You're right. And as the teams line up and congratulate each other, I know Colin Doyle certainly may have been the Toronto Rock most valuable player in this championship game, but Josh Sanderson was the MVP of this game. It was an incredible performance that he put on.
Your heart has to ache for him, the way he's feeling right now after that effort and that performance.
And the fans here that have ventured down to Albany are really whooping it up. We've had 5, 6, 7 busloads of them, and they're congregated down by the penalty box. There you see some of them over on the far side. And they're going to be celebrating long into the night as well, as the Toronto Rock are world champions for the 3rd time in 4 years. And a marvelous, really a gritty performance, but this is what this team has been built around for the 4 years, Brian. It's literally grit and tenacity and opportunism, because they got goals from people tonight that had no business leading the offense.
Exactly, and it's what Jim Lang was talking about. In the fourth quarter, they were down by 2 goals. Early in the fourth quarter, they didn't panic. You heard Coach Eddie Como at one point saying, "Oh, we just got to do this, do that," and they came back, and they've been in this situation many times, as Eddie Como said, and they expect to win these games. I don't think they have much panic in them at all.
No, and Colin Doyle, I guess you just look down that bench and you see the Jim Veltmans, the Pat Coyles, the Colin Doyles, and others who certainly are going to lead by example and lead by showing their composure as well.
When we talk about the defense scoring a lot of goals, but Colin Doyle got the 3 and Stroop got a big one when they needed it.
Let's go downstairs with the winning coach.
Joe Bowen, you talked about the incredible record of Les Bartley, 9 times the final, 6 times a winner, but this one has to feel extra special.
Yeah, they're all special. This one here, winning on the road, was different for us. Our road record wasn't great this year, and we come down here with a purpose, and we played one heck of a team here tonight. It was a hard-fought battle.
Les, why don't you go raise that championship cup? Enjoy the night.
Hold on one second, though. First, I'd like to say hi to my wife and my daughter, who back home cheering for us, okay?
Out of the doghouse and back upstairs.
Jim Jennings, the commissioner of the National Lacrosse League,
I'd like to thank the city of Albany for being such a
down
great
making
host
the announcements
for the 2002 Champions Cup, and to all the Albany fans who came out and supported this team in tonight's game. You should be congratulated. At this time, it is with great pleasure that I announce the 2002 Champions Cup most valuable player goes to Colin Doyle of the Toronto Rock. Congratulations, Colin. Pleasure.
Colin Doyle, the most valuable player in the game. I don't know. I think it still goes to Sanderson. That's a tough thing. I guess you got to give it to the winning team. But Josh Sanderson was just incredible here tonight.
Well, that's the second time Colin Doyle has won a MVP of the championship game. He did it in 1999 as the Rock beat the Nighthawks.
And a photo opportunity here with the league's commissioner and Colin Doyle.
And now the presentation for the 2002 Champions Cup. The Toronto Rock has shown great class as great team this year. They're the class of our league. They've been in this championship many times. I would like to congratulate first the ownership group, Brad Waters, Bill Smith, Brian Black, Les Bartley and the rest of the ownership group for the Toronto Rock. You guys should be proud. You're back in here in the final again this year. Right now, congratulations, Brad. Right now, I would like to present the cup to the Toronto Rock captain, Mr. Jim Veltman. Congratulations, Jim. Great season.
Jimmy Veltman hoisting the championship trophy for the third time in 4 years over his shoulders. And the Toronto Rock celebrating with a trip around the floor, I am sure. What a performance tonight. They rally in the fourth period and come from a 9-7 deficit to beat the Albany Attack by the slimmest of margins, 13-12 here tonight in the Pepsi Arena. For Brian Shanahan and Jim Lang, Joe Bowen, hoping that you had a great night as we did here in Albany. Stay tuned for Sports Central Prime Time coming up after the game. The Rock win it 13-12.